How's it going, everyone? Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick Ramirez, also Rick known as Rick's 2 Cents, along with my fellow co-host Steve from Steve Makes Everything.
Hi, guys.
I got to slow it down because I messed up Skyler's introduction last week. Skyler from Skyler Ewing's Woodworking.
Hi, everyone.
And Roger from Roger Shop.
Howdy, howdy.
Looks like we already got some people in the live. Clayton, aloha from Hawaii, everyone.
Clayton, it's been a while.
Yeah, Clayton, where you been, brother? Where you been? So, Chris from Down Under.
He's become a standard.
And Kevin said, hello from Tennessee, guys. Working in Toronto today for a couple of days. Hope everyone is well.
Yeah, it was probably cool in Toronto today.
Yeah.
Compared to, were you guys cool today?
Yeah, upper 60s here. It wasn't really warm.
We were like 80 today, which
we had 80, 81.
Yeah, we had a rainy, kind of cruddy day today. So
yeah,
rain is coming here tomorrow.
As everyone can see from my background, it's full of boxes. And so I'll answer the question now. No, the CNC's not together yet because I'm still waiting on one part.
I kept checking your page to see if you post any, first time using it.
I waited too.
Yeah, so trust me, people have definitely been pushing at me. Come on, man, come on. I'm like, well, I can't do anything with that of all the parts. So, but yeah, so, with Mother's Day and then just planning all this stuff, it's that time of year for Roger and I, right? Owning a farm, so just it's been crazy. But yeah, I thought at least I got the table all together. I got that together. I got the dust collection going, so I just need to slap the CNC together once it arrives. So I appreciate everyone letting us know where you're joining from. Of course, thank you for joining. Happy Hump Day with us on Wednesday. But if you have any questions, let us know. Let us know. I have a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
So. People have kind of been liking our honesty and saying that not every project is a success story, right? But I like Skyler how you turned it around and said that we always say fail and fail fast, right? And so turn it around, either dump it or fix it, right? And you were able to take something that was a mistake and turn on to make something really great out of it and still make it a sellable, marketable item that someone would really like. But in introducing new products that you are going to sell, do you normally just make one, or do you make a couple and hope they sell? Or how do you guys introduce a new something?
I pretty much everything I have is one of a kind. I only make one.
Okay.
And just because I hate doing repetitive things. And I would love to make more just because it saves time, but then I get bored and then I don't want to do anything else. So
yeah, I'm the same way.
I do one. Then I might do the same thing, but I work with different wood, try to add something else. And
right. So, okay. So there could be maybe a different version, but it could still be.
Right.
Right. So you would still try to make more than one version of the same thing and kind of.
Yes. Like I have tissue boxes, covers, it's like none of them are the same. They're all
different. How many tissue boxes did you make until you were like, maybe I should hold to see if these sell? Or you just all in and just start making a ton of them?
I made a whole bunch of them and they didn't really sell in the beginning. And then at Christmas, I went to a craft fair, and at that craft fair, I had with me epoxy boards, cutting boards, boxes. I had with me everything. And I basically sold nothing but napkin tissue box holders. I sold out of all of those. I had to send my husband home to go get more.
Nice.
And they sold all there. And then they didn't sell again for a while until I started to add inlays to them. So it's like the same tissue box, but now I just bought this decorative border inlay from, online. And I just routed a groove that is 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch. And I put that inlay. And then people loved them and bought a whole bunch of them again online. And then they kind of died down again. So.
I keep looking at those tissue covers that you make, and it's like, you take a $50-$60 tissue container and you hide a 50-cent box of tissue in it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I have them in all my tissue boxes in all the rooms because I hate when you take the tissue and you pull it out, and the box comes with it.
Yeah.
For me,
Oh,
it's
make
more
no
better to
mistake.
hold
I
it
think they
down.
look fantastic, but I keep looking at it going, it's like a 50-cent box of tissue. How much can you possibly hate that to cover it up with a piece of art?
It's actually, they're great at the craft fairs when I was going and stuff. They were doing okay because they're like cheaper than buying a box or a cutting board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's cool. Kevin said, Rick, you can get the
I've made
rails.
some of them in the past, but mine are like done on the laser cut, and they're nowhere near what you do.
Yeah.
well, I've done some with dovetails, some with finger joints, some just miters. You know, just
all the
try
ones
to
I've ever
vary.
seen besides yours have always been 1/4-inch plywood cut on a laser. I've never seen no one actually do woodworking and make them ever.
I have one here that I started. Let me show you.
Yeah, Kevin said you can get the rails together. That's what Steve was telling me there last week. So, hey, just put it all together and just wait for the stiffy to show up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Like,
it's not like you're gonna have to take anything apart.
I have this one I started, I don't know, months ago. I just never finished it because I have to cut the top part with the hole. But this one has dovetails.
nice.
I was gonna ask how come you didn't get more into like intricate joinery? Because there's some crazy joinery out there. Like there's whole books on it, right?
I'm not that good at woodworking.
Yeah, okay.
You're a heck of a lot better than I am.
I do dovetails, but I use a dovetail jig to do it.
I do too. I use the what is it called? Lay.
Okay, mine's Porter cables.
Yeah, I have the lay one. I have 2 of them.
I don't know. When I feel like doing a dovetail, I go for a walk and keep going until the feeling goes away.
Alan said
they used to be used on cabinetry a lot, right? For drawers and
for
stuff.
drawers.
But I mean, people have kind of looked at it and went, well, yeah, it looks fantastic, but it's not any stronger than just lapping the thing with a bit of glue and nails, right?
I think it looks awesome, but I think
they do.
Well, the reason people were using that. The reason people were using that back in the day was not just so much for decorative, it's because they were using hide glue. So their glue was just not strong, so it wouldn't hold.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So they needed a mechanical fastener.
I mean, they definitely look good, and there's certainly an appreciation for when you slide the thing in and it's like a 0 tolerance fit, right? Like it just looks fantastic. But people, and Rick, I think you just said this. People just don't appreciate the effort that's involved. Even if you have a jig, it's still hard, right?
Yeah, it can still be sloppy with a jig.
Yeah,
exactly. Alan said, "Hello from Georgia. I took this week off to learn VCarve. I'll be right behind you, Alan. I thought I would be ahead of this and kind of playing with the software. I've just been so slammed with things. I think I'm going to be learning them at the same time."
Gee, sounds like I should create some VCarve videos.
Yes, do it.
Hello from Milwaukee.
Make a course. I'll take it.
Just take Andy's course.
No, see, that's the problem. Andy's course is a marketing course.
Oh, I know.
Oh.
It's not a tutorial for how to use a CNC.
Are you telling me there's not one out there? I haven't really looked.
There's one person that I found, and then there's that company now that Xfinity One they partnered with, right? It's
there's Two Moose. There's a bunch of them, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I learned mine, I went to the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
Yeah. You learn by doing. I mean, you're going to screw stuff up. You're going to break bits, and things are going to fly across the room, but you'll get over it.
I've never had anything fly across the room.
Oh, I did one. Yeah.
Really? Usually, if you break a bit, it just falls down on the table.
The one thing that I was, what's his name? 6'8"
Woodworks.
Yeah,
Nick?
Yeah. So he was saying 1/8" bits, and I thought, wouldn't you use thicker bits than that?
You don't have to.
1/4" shank. Although you are going to want to get, if you've got a spindle, you're going to want to get 3 collets. You're going to want to get an 1/8" collet, a 1/4", and a 1/2".
So what comes with it? I thought all 3 do.
Well, I don't know. I didn't get any collets with my spindle.
I better look.
You can buy them anyway. They're cheap.
I thought all 3 came with it.
Well, it depends on your collet, on your spindle, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you got this. You got the the Onefinity spindle, right?
No,
No, you got the Pone
PWN
CNC.
CNC. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what comes with theirs. I got
Chris
none. I got
Chris
a 1/4 inch collet. That was it.
Okay. Chris said his internet service provider just finished doing their maintenance. Might have to watch a replay if it doesn't kick up.
Jeez,
All right, Chris.
sounds
Hope
like
you can
my
hang
place
with us.
today. I was working away this morning. I'd done a job, and I'm drinking my second cup of coffee, and I'm cruising my email, and internet just disappeared at 8:30 in the morning. That kind of blew my day because it didn't come back until noon. And it's just never happened. I didn't realize, like, this is like living without oxygen. Like half my lasers don't run, right? Because they don't have an internet connection.
Yeah, we are spoiled. Star of Texas and Design DIY said had watched a couple past streams, finally able to catch a live. Thank you for joining the live. Thank you.
The Star of Texas.
Oh yeah, I found Nemo. He's right here.
Yeah.
So Chris said, Rick, you could unpack it and stage it ready for assembly.
Tim
I'm
showed
on
me a
I'm
picture
on
he
it.
was doing this week. He was doing some swords for one of the, I guess, cadets or something, and they looked pretty nice.
Hey,
some
Roger,
fancy
Jay don't
engraving
play,
on
he's in the
swords.
building.
Hey, Jay. Jay, you should have been here last week for Roger.
Oh, yeah, there was some inside jokes for sure. Now you got me wanting to go grab my stupid spindle and look at it, but I'm pretty sure it was all three. Yeah.
It might
You
be,
know.
but you can buy them on Amazon anyway, right? You just buy. You don't even have to buy another collet nut. You just buy the collet.
Okay, I'll take
And
it.
you can. They're like, I don't know, $15 a piece.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, given how much you've already paid, $15, you won't even notice that.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this here. Kevin Rich. He says that a gun and knife show got 2 coaster orders of $350 and $250 each.
Nice.
Very
Sweet.
nice.
You can definitely make some money with coasters when you do them in mass. You just have to have the patience to do it.
And even what he said, it's a gun and knife show. Like maybe that was not even an expected sale, but it came out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
could be.
speaking of doing coasters en masse, I have a video coming up that will do some of these.
Have you been converted?
No. My video isn't focused on the coaster. It's focused on the jig.
That was a quick.
See, I actually originally built this to engrave pencils because people keep stealing my pencils.
I'm gonna
So I
make
need
Steve a meme. It's gonna be a Facebook meme. No.
Yeah, just say no to coasters. I should put that on a T-shirt.
That's funny. Jack says he has not tried dovetail joints yet.
They are difficult to cut by hand. I have done it before, but when you have a dovetail jig, whether it be by lay or from Porter Cable, it makes it so much easier. You're just limited in width to about 12 inches.
See, this is the thing. I every time I do something like this or inlay, Skyler, you've done inlay. You have to appreciate that people used to do this stuff by hand.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it's like, holy cow! Like I can whip something up, a piece of inlay, really nicely on a laser in a few minutes. But these people would take months to make something with inlay, and it's like I'd kill myself if I had to do that. But Dovetail's the same way, right? Like they used to make these things precision fit by hand.
Yeah.
And
I remember when I did my first inlay, I did it with a router and like a router template, and you have the collets and the things. It was not great, but I was so happy when I got that start to fit in there. I was like jammed it a little bit. I was like, yay, I did it.
Even if the joint looks like crap, as long as it fit together, that was the satisfaction, right?
Manuel said, "Hello, finally warming up in the state of Maine."
Yeah, it was beautiful today.
A fellow Mainian. What do you call people from Maine? Mainites?
I don't know.
Kevin said, "Learn your CNC, Kyle. It's the absolute best." Yeah. So there's gonna be a few of us in here fumbling through this. So yeah.
I'll wait to see how you do it, then I'll buy one.
I won't call myself an expert, but I actually make more money doing CNC work than laser work.
Okay.
Here's one for me. Will I be testing the Bamboo Lab H2D 3D printer? I have looked at it. I haven't bought one yet. I am not sponsored by Bamboo Labs. None of the printers I have from Bamboo have been given to me. I bought everything. So no sponsors, no affiliation. I don't even have an affiliate link for them. So yeah, possibly sometime in the future.
Maybe you should contact them if you like their machines. I'm sure they would love to send you one.
They won't give me an affiliate link or anything because I criticized their tech support once.
Well, so what he's really looking for, I'm sorry, what brand is it that you really like, Roger?
Oh, you're going to get a Creality? They won't even
Creality,
give me the time of day.
Like just
twist the knife a little more.
Yeah, I have hit Creality so hard. They have even sent me apology emails, but I will not give in.
You ever get hit with one of those yellow wiffle bats? It just like leaves a red stain.
Yeah, they're not as soft as they look. Well, I have never said anything bad about Bamboo Lab, and per some of the comments I had in my last video, I would love a free Bamboo Lab printer.
All of a sudden, Roger's screen goes. He's going to get like the blotchy, like the FBI under investigation.
I did a little bit of a criticism of their tech support. One of the printers I got did not work out of the box, and they were not very helpful. Of course, it was during the holidays, so I'll give them a little break for that, with lack of quick replies. It was over Christmas and New Year's, but they, we'll try this and try this and try this, and, we'll buy this and replace it with this, and it never worked. I ended up sending it back, and they did send me another one, and I did get credit for the parts I bought. So I will say they finally did come through, but it took like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Andrew
Otherwise,
says,
I'm a Bamboo fan. I love their printers.
Yeah, they look like the printer to have for sure. Andrew says, I think VCarve has a series of videos on using the program, and they do. They've got a whole bunch of them. So if you want to really find out, Skyler, and Rick, because you're closer to the point of the knife, but they do have a good series of videos, which is, I'm not going to do videos for how to use VCarve, but there are things about CNCs that are actually useful to know for sure.
So I think helpful videos will be tricks and tips, right?
Yes.
You see things like, if you would have known to click this, it could have saved you hours. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like,
and there's lots of little 2 or 3 minute, like they could be YouTube shorts almost for most of the stuff. You do get to know a few things that will take hours off of a job and turn it into minutes. It's probably the only piece of workshop technology I have where you can actually do a 10-minute job in 10 minutes as opposed to 3 days like most things take.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for a CNC, a 3x4 or a 4x4 or a 4x2?
I would say get the biggest one you have room for and have budget for. Like Rick got the 4x4. So I have the exact same CNC Rick bought, but I only have the 32x48, and it was a real estate issue in my shop. Otherwise, I would have got the 48, because the very first thing I had to do with that CNC was make a door, which most of them are 6'8", right? So, or whatever, 6'2". So yeah, it was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, well,
you can do alignment, right? Like you can put markers on things and line them up, but it never works the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, well, remember, Steve, I already had that problem with the door. That's why I cut my foundation and put a new door in.
Well, yeah, I was making one for a home theater, not to get a big laser down in my basement.
South Carolina.
I was smart. I bought a house without a basement.
Yeah. So Tento said, I made some coasters today with a 3D printer.
Yes, you could do that. And here, just happen to have a couple laying right here. Yeah, nice. You can make 3D printed coasters.
How long did it take to print one of those?
I do them in batches of 8, so it's about 3 hours to do 8 of them.
Whoa.
On the X1 carbon. It would take longer on the A1.
All right, now how long did it take on your UFI?
On a UFI?
Not long.
I don't know. If you do 8 of them, probably wouldn't take a whole lot longer than doing one. So it's probably about maybe 5-10 minutes.
It's crazy. All right, I think I don't know, Steve or Skyler, which one you want to take this?
Have either of you UV testers, that would be us, Skyler, tried photos on glass? I have, yeah. Not
I did
glass
too.
glass. I've tried acrylic.
I did acrylic and glass, and it worked out beautiful with no adhesion material underneath or anything like that.
Oh, I actually have one here somewhere. Somebody asked me this week to print like a stained glass window thing, except it was a dog.
That's what I did on a glass from a sublimation glass ornament.
Yeah, I might actually have a picture of it here. Hang
So
on.
was there any prep work you did to the glass prior to
I did
printing that?
nothing.
Peel the paper off and push the go button.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the acrylic, I did that light box.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Here, I do
Yeah.
have one. Let me share this.
Clayton says, "LOL coasters for Steve."
Well, when people ask me to do things, I'll do them, but I wouldn't wake up in the morning and go, I think it'd be great to make a coaster. So that's on acrylic.
Okay.
Very
Oh,
nice.
that's cool.
very nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the whole point was it's actually got a hole in the top. See, it's like a decoration.
Oh,
The whole point was to see if you could get, because I actually have a white background on this.
Oh, you do?
So-
I put no white background on mine.
Yeah, I did a version of this thing here. Maybe I still have it here. Let me go back a couple. So this one has no white background.
okay.
And you can actually kind of see through, like around his neck where it's supposed to be white. You can see my cupboard in the background.
Yeah.
And my messy shop. Anyway, I did one, and it works really well.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was
I
a
think that's going to
favor
work
for
well for
somebody.
the holidays with ornaments and, can you
Oh
imagine
yeah,
like
Christmas stuff.
grandma's
For sure.
ornaments with like grandkids photos on it and all that stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, she sent me one of these things with, I think it was a beagle or something, and she said, "Can you print this?" I said, "Well, if you send me one with a Chihuahua, I'll print it and try it out."
So looks like you said, Skyler, your videos have helped a lot with their X tool.
Thank you. I'm glad it did.
Speaking of Xtool,
Mainers.
did you notice that Laser Matmaker is integrated into XCS now?
No.
No,
Yeah,
I
it
haven't
just popped
seen
up.
that.
I'll probably put a quick video together to show.
So what is that? What does that mean?
So Laser Matmaker is the thing for making maps, obviously. And normally you had this separate workflow. So you go make your map and all the layers of it, and then you'd have to take all those SVG files, bring them into your Laser, Lightburn, or XCS, do the cuts and the engraving and glue it all together. So they've eliminated that whole movement process. So from inside XCS, you can just click the little map button and it'll take you over to Laser Matmaker. And, you don't get Laser Matmaker for free. And the big complaint with Laser Matmaker is people don't want to pay $10 a month, basically.
Right. The
I think if you're in the map business, $10 a month is peanuts because people sell these maps for like $100.
I've seen many videos on people doing it. I've never actually tried it myself.
And I've done a few. I don't do many, but
seems like a lot of work.
it's actually not, though. That's the thing. And
Yeah,
you
it's
get
just mostly like eliminating, right? You want to delete the things that you don't want on the map.
yeah. Well, so you pick the layers you want. So you want a water layer, a general earth layer, streets, whatever, and you can have separate layers, and you can cut them individually, and then you glue them together. And I mean, I learned how to glue in kindergarten. I don't know when you learned how to glue, but it's pretty easy.
I used to eat
I
the
was in my
glue.
30s.
I seen them do a lot of people make the ones in the city of Chicago, and the entire every single street name has a name across down the street.
Yeah. That's going to be a pretty big map.
Yeah.
The thing I did just to play around with it this morning, which is what I was doing before my internet disappeared, was they've added topographical mapping support now,
So
along with
GIS?
color grading as well. So I just printed a grayscale top map, which I thought was kind of neat.
Nice.
So,
Jack in the
yeah.
Shot said, I make more money with my CNC, but I do a lot more laser projects. Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way, right? I spend all my time playing with lasers for video stuff, but when I actually want to buy groceries, I go do a CNC job.
If you guys want to see Roger's smile, just keep typing Creality in the comments below. #Creality.
I still do have one Creality 3D printer. It's a Ender 3 V3 SE, and I still do use it, and it works fine. But when I got it, it had problems. It wasn't even assembled right on the electronics from the factory, and I had to literally figure it out myself.
I don't think I have any 3D printer in my shop now.
I don't have any. I've never had one.
I had a Creality and it's gone. The FL Sun is gone.
Anytime I was offered one, it was like, I wouldn't buy that, so I'm not going to recommend that.
Yeah. the easiest way I found to just get rid of laser stuff and 3D printer stuff that I don't need is just leave it in my shop, and someone will come in and go, hey, I want one of those.
Yeah, the Clayton here, the Bamboo Lab A1. Well, two of mine just finished printing.
Nice.
We're yonder there.
V is doing her rounds.
Hey,
Hi,
Hello,
V.
Skyler.
Hello, V.
She normally jumps in every single one of us to show some loyal support. Appreciate that, V. Hello, hello. Star of Texas said, need some Father's Day top sellers. Okay, so this is what I'm going to make. I'll give you guys just a bottle opener at the top with a little tiny square box at the bottom, and you put someone's monogram. Like that, and it
put
catches
it in a nice box.
No. It's a piece of wood. It's a flat piece of wood. And then the bottom is just a square box. And here's the bottle cap opener. So when you open it up, the bottle cap falls into the box on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
And in between the bottle opener and the box is just their monogram. For their last name, first name.
Yeah, lots of people make like the 6-pack case, and they actually put one of those bottle openers with the catcher on the bottom on the end of it.
It'd be a cool Father's Day. I know
Since
Roger.
it's Father's Day, you got to make it
coasters, Roger. You sell a lot of coasters on Father's Day?
No, but we have something here. I've got them sitting on the table over here. That is one of those things that somebody asked me to make them one, and I made one, and then there are friends like, can you make me one? Can you make me one? Can you make some more? So we have picnic tables, but they're not conventional picnic tables.
Oh, the squirrel one?
For squirrels. I got two different versions here, and it's as fast as I can make them. These are made out of cedar fence pickets, so I can make 3 of them out of one cedar fence picket, which costs like $4. These are $20 a piece, all day long. And
what I've been asked for lately, and I've never made before, is the bat boxes. Everybody keeps asking about the bat boxes.
I have made those, and during COVID, I had to take them off of Etsy. I had them on Etsy. I was selling quite a few of them. But so many people were thinking that because of the supposed thing that the coronavirus came from bats, that how can you put that up there, and this and that. So I took them down. I haven't made any bat boxes since.
Yeah. Jim said, are leatherette faster or slower than leather? I would say run a material test.
Well, it's faster as long as your leatherette is not vinyl. If your leatherette is vinyl, do not cut it on a laser. You'll ruin your laser.
Yeah. Or your lungs.
Yeah, that too.
But either way, it's going to stink. Yeah.
Yeah, leatherette, if it has vinyl in it, it'll put off chlorine gas. Horrible.
Yeah. Clayton said, Bamboo One Lab A1 never stops running. It's 24/7.
Yeah, I keep mine running most of the time. I've got them kind of quiet tonight. The A1's just finished, and the ones behind me here were done a couple hours ago. So it's quiet down here.
V said the glass on that is flat. You for sure want to use laminated UV print, but I don't own one, so don't listen to me.
On glass that is not flat. Well, if you're laminating onto like a drinking glass or something, a beer glass, this actually isn't the ink to do it with. You can. So I did a mug. And it looks great, but if you really tried, you could pick the print off of it. But Eufy is making some other inks for this kind of thing. So stay tuned, and then it'll just be printing like anything else.
Clack, should I have a 4x4, but I only need the whole bed twice in over a year? A 4x2 would be 99% of the stuff.
Yeah. But it's those 2 times a year when you need it that you're going to go, damn it, why didn't I buy that for an extra, $800 or whatever it costs.
I would just think too, when it comes to those larger items, they're a larger ticket
That's
item,
where,
right?
yeah, that's where the bigger money is too, right?
Yeah. So that's something I would say.
Yeah, that's the thing. There are times when I would have liked to have a 4x4, and now I have a little more room in my shop, so I'll probably, if I ever get a new CNC, I'll get a 4x4.
Hey, is the UFI actually available for purchase yet, or is it still in
Only in Kickstarter?
Okay.
It's July, I think. The beginning of July is when it goes live for sale.
And Jose said, just waiting for my UFI when it comes. Hello from Florida. Well, I'm sure it's teaser alerts, Jose. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you guys got to join. Man, Steve and Skyler definitely doing some bragging rights, so to speak, and showing us some of the stuff that they make.
Yeah,
So
I've been so busy this week. My Eufy is just sitting there churning ink, cleaning itself. Actually, it's stopped now finally after 3 days. But
yeah, so if you guys are not a member already of our Facebook group, just go to shop.live.club. It's just an auto forward to our Facebook page, so it makes it easier. You don't have to give this big long URL, but check it out.
My Eufy started to do the moisturizing of the heads every 24 hours now. It doesn't matter that if I print something tonight, by tomorrow it's already, the head is moisturized, and
have you checked the humidity levels in your wherever it's at to see if it changed?
I don't know that they detect the humidity.
Oh, okay.
It's a little different than a like a DTF printer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says. Does it actually say every 24 hours that it's doing something?
Well, no, but like if I print something like right now, and tomorrow around noon I'll come back to print something else, it'll tell you I have to, inject the ink into the
really?
thing.
Change so you can switch it from professional to home use to something else. There's 3 modes, and one of them will moisturize less often.
Yeah, I should do that then.
Wasting anything by doing
because you're going to end up replacing the cartridge on the side there, right?
Right. That's why I haven't printed anything for like a week. I'm like, okay, I don't want to just print a coaster or something and then have to like lose ink because of that.
Yeah, it doesn't actually use much ink to clean. It's the moisturizer that'll get used up, right?
I'll take this one here from this was from Jack in the shop. So I made a table lamp with an old house meter that spins when the lamp is on. Making one tonight. Got almost done. The meter won't spin. Glad I had a backup meter. Sometimes you have to make sure when you're running 120 volts through a house meter, and this is coming from an electrician, so I know this. Make sure that your neutral is securely connected to the very, very center, because you're running on 120 volts and not 240. Otherwise, no, that meter won't run.
I'm more interested in figuring out how the heck he got a meter.
They're easy to get. They're real easy to get.
Not here.
Well, the reason is because all our meters now are smart meters. They're all digital. They don't have those meters anymore, so they pop up all over the place.
Well, I guess they probably have lots of them, lots of the old ones, right?
Well, one of the things with the old meters was now you didn't hear this from me, however, if you would put that meter in upside down, it would run backwards. So there were people that the locks they used to have on the meter sockets were not like really secure. And if you had an ice pick, you could open them. So you could take your meter out, flip it over, and run it upside down for half the month. You just had to know when your meter reader was coming. And then flip it back over, and you'd only pay for half your bill or less. So you didn't hear that from me.
Gee, and I put a solar array on my roof to do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, here Chris says a problem with Bamboo Labs is A1. You don't really get to learn troubleshooting print problems. I don't miss that a bit. One of the nice things about Bamboo Labs is, especially if you're using their filament, everything is set up for you already. It's just literally flawless. Hey, there's Rich from Louisiana Hobby Guy. Howdy, Rich.
Hello. Hey, Rich. All right, Steve or Skyler, want to take this?
You can do this one, Skyler.
All right, let's see. Could a laser cut a beer bottle shape and print?
like a beer
I don't
bottle
know what
shaped
the
blank,
Modelo
I
is.
assume.
Like
Modelo
Modelo
is,
is a Mexican beer.
It's
Oh.
yeah.
And I don't have one tonight. I'm drinking the hydrogen monoxide tonight. So
Yeah,
So
I'm
one of
sure you
the
can do it then.
you
There's
can
no
do
reason
this.
to not
So
do it.
one of the cool things I've seen is people taking tumblers and they're doing a full wraparound of like Duracell batteries and all kinds of stuff, right? Somebody did a like STP oil can, looks like an oil can with oil running down the side, but it's actually UV printed. There's going to be a huge business for that kind of stuff, I think. Like
Yeah.
it's
You're
possibly
sure
going
people drinking beer now, but we have Diet Coke wraparound.
Yeah, and with cheap UV printers hitting the market, it's going to put a big dent in laser engraved tumblers, I think.
I think the printers are gonna take over the laser, most of it.
As long as you don't have to cut anything.
Right.
this is Modelo.
You
All
gotta
right,
say it right.
got it.
Modelo
I think
time.
Rick was
Except
drinking that too, but in a
except this-
can, right?
Yeah,
This one's empty. Yeah, this is Modelo.
that's Modelo Special, and this is Modelo flavors. I got the mango.
That's not
Yeah.
real beer, man.
Oh,
That's Chelada.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could certainly do this. And you know, this plays to my argument that you can't just have one tool in your shop, right?
Right. The only thing I would say is that whenever you're using trademark logos, be careful.
Yeah, you can't sell them.
Well, be careful even displaying them.
Well, if you're using it for yourself, you're giving it for gifts, you can do it.
Yeah,
but
if
they
it's
still
personal
come
use,
after you.
you won't run into any problems. But
They can still come after you though, but just be careful.
yeah, so you just say, "Well, go away." You know, call my lawyer. I'm not selling them.
Just call Steve's lawyer. Don't worry about it. He'll take care of it.
Hey, well, I did have my lawyer save me from the Los Angeles Times at one point.
Well, really? So do you
For
care to
some
share?
reason, they wanted to sue me.
Oh. All right, we got another UV question. You guys want to take this one?
How is the UV printer's learning curve? And what design program? So the learning curve for a UFI is pretty much non-existent. And in part because the software they include is their own UFI Make Studio. It works a lot like, it reminds me a lot of Xtool XCS actually. Like it clearly they stole the same graphics or whatever because they're very similar in appearance. But basically you capture your workspace, which has whatever you're trying to print on it, and then drop a graphic on and push the print button.
So what was
really
the
not
whole
a
idea
lot
of like a
settings.
flat object making it three-dimensional? It can do that, right? I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a slider basically. Just saying, I want texture, and then how much texture, how much you want it to be right?
like
1
this
millimeter,
one.
2 millimeters.
I did this little koi pond one. Somebody asked me if I could do it, and I did
cool.
2 of them, one for them and one for me. And the koi is actually kind of sticking out a bit. That takes seconds, right? I mean, so Skyler did a bunch of really cool ones.
I put this on my phone. It's not 3D though; it's just flat.
I like that. I must watch that movie.
Oh, that with the eyes, that would be great as a 3D.
At least twice a week I watch that movie because of my son. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best thing about kids. You can watch all the old cartoons again.
I already said I meant actual photos of people like with UFI on glass, like a light box with an actual photo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a person or anything else. You can print it.
So it can be realistic colors. It doesn't have to be like cartoonistic type.
It could be a photo that you took with your Nikon camera.
Yeah. So in my review video, I showed a picture of our 2 dogs. And again, maybe I have a photo of it here. I do not. Oh, yes, I do. This one, and actually, a lot of people have shown these, but let me share this one.
UFI's the hot topic of the night.
Well, so that was.
Oh, that's
I took
Tile.
that photo. It was a photo I shot, and it's on canvas.
Oh, canvas.
And I didn't do anything. I could have touched up the photo a little. It's a little on the yellow side, but the original was that color. But just printed it on there.
Yep.
Drop
I
the photo
printed
on.
on canvas. I printed a photo of my daughter. It was perfect. The colors were true. Everything looked nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I actually showed this photo, this painting, in my review video.
Nice.
Let me
All right, so
stop sharing
good
now.
evening, all. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Happy hump day, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah. We're almost to Friday, guys. We're almost to Friday. So
Well, when you're retired, every day is Saturday. So
Yeah, that's what I say.
you
Yeah.
know, Roger, I took a week off after I took that cert, and I just worked on my property. And I says, if this is what retirement's going to be like, I want to sell my house.
you will be busier after you retire than before you retired. Believe me.
Man, I was bringing out one piece of John Deere equipment, bringing out another piece of equipment. I look like a John Deere in a steel commercial.
Hey, I'm with John Deere. I'm actually in the queue.
Oh,
My
you're in the
tractor
queue,
isn't
right?
here yet. It was supposed to be here last week, and I checked on a Friday, and he says, "Well, you're in the queue." I says, "That resembles a remark we made on a live stream a few weeks ago with the guy being in the queue for his CNC."
It took me a year to get my John Deere, just so you know. Hopefully that's not the case for you.
Jeez, glad I drive a Kubota.
I have a
Yeah,
Kubota too.
Yeah,
But
you gotta love the Bamboo A1. They're good printers.
My Kubota is smaller than my John Deere, so I use it to till and do things in my garden because it's easier to turn.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, my Kubota is like a big lawn tractor.
Yeah.
It's the BX series.
yeah, both of mine are diesel, but just the
Yeah,
the
that's
Kubota's
all
smaller.
Kubota makes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Louisiana, like I said, love all my bamboo products.
Yep. I have no complaints on them.
West Virginia. Hello, Dennis from West Virginia. Printers will never replace lasers. You know, it's like when the what's the name of it? The vinyl platter, the little one that came out that everyone had at their house. What's that? What was that called? The
Cricket.
vinyl Cricket. When the Cricket came out,
Yeah.
right?
I got
I
one
was
sitting
like,
right there.
oh,
It's not.
Never
It
worked
hasn't been plugged in for about 6 months.
that was like, oh my God, everyone was all freaked out. And then, and then it just kind of, I'm not saying people still don't use it, but it was like a huge phase, right? Like a huge fad, right? It was definitely like a big wave that they made.
Yeah, I partially agree with Rich here because at the end of the day, use the right tool for the job. So don't use a UV printer because you don't want to use a laser, right? Or you don't have a laser. My father would always tell me, don't use a wrench for a hammer.
I've always done that though.
If you're an electrician, you'd be surprised what you use for a hammer.
Right. Nines you can use for everything, right, Roger?
I have many times used a wrench for a hammer, but he always used to tell me not to.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing, right? It's just, I don't think it's one versus the other. I think I think you'll get better things from the combination.
I think
in fact, I just recently helped a guy wire his screen house, and it was all Romex. But he's like, "You need a hammer?" I go, "No." "Why are you gonna put them staples in? Alignment pliers. That's electrician's hammer." Rick knows what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, we call them nines.
Yeah. Use the nines, and you don't need a hammer. You use that for all kinds of things.
Yeah. But I think that what you're saying, Steve, is that like when people always say, they always ask us is, what's the best laser to buy? What's the best CNC to buy? And I think that you may use something because that's all you have, right? But as you start acquiring a CNC, start acquiring a laser, start acquiring, these other tools, then you may not use that for that because one particular tool would do that better, right?
Yeah.
And then you also may use two different tools for one project.
Yeah. So this is a good story for Skyler because she makes a lot of wooden boxes. I CNC boxes, but then to put any kind of design on them, I'll take them over to a laser and laser engrave them. In part because it's faster, right? You don't have to set anything up and you can just plug it down and it takes 5 minutes, right? Especially if it's like an intricate detailed thing. CNCs will be slow if you're trying to use an 1/8-inch bit to VCarve something.
Tim says
with the printer, you can print in color.
Well, Tim, you are going to have to come to my place and buy me a beer.
He's calling a challenge out there.
And while you're here, you can buy a laser sitting on my shelf.
Speaking of that, Steve, I may be out your way not too long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
When
I
you
think
say
I'm
my
gonna
way, do you mean Canada or do you mean
Canada.
the east coast of Canada?
go Canada.
Okay, so Canada's like 6,000 kilometers across, right?
Yeah, but we'll probably head east, and we're gonna do our rounds.
Oh, well, come to Nova Scotia and go see the 43-foot tides.
That are you serious?
Yeah, Bay
That's
of Fundy,
nuts.
top end of the Bay of Fundy, 43 feet.
That's nuts. So you can't swim.
Well, you can at low tide. At low tide, you can't see the water.
Oh wow.
Well, the Bay of Fundy at that end is about 2.5 miles across, and at low tide, the water's about a half a mile across.
No, pretty crazy. Chris said a lot of people use the overlay basic program like Eufy and Xtool to design their own program.
Yep.
Yeah. 4 years left and counting. For retirement?
Or coming to my place to buy me a beer, because that would be way worse.
Because that's a pretty long line.
That's a long
The
time
thing
to wait
is
for
that when you like Clack has been counting down for his retirement, I didn't count down for mine. It was
Oh, I
like
did.
an all of a sudden thing when I realized, like my wife pointed it out, that I was literally working for about 50 cents an hour. I went in the very next day and says I'm retiring. 42 years was enough.
I don't know when Clack started counting. It was a couple hundred, maybe 300. I started at 1,100. That was that.
Here, Mark says his dad retired and is not busier than before. He sits and watches westerns all day. No, it's not good for you, but yeah, he enjoys it. I have known guys that I worked with that retired and then like just sit home and watch like Wheel of Fortune and stuff like that, and they're dead in 6 months. It's an unfortunate thing, but I have to stay active. I cannot just sit.
I think
When I broke my ribs a couple of years ago and I had to sit for 6 weeks, it literally drove me insane. Okay, here's Star of Texas, Klein of Milwaukee. Be an electrician, Klein.
I guess I'm cheap. I would have picked Milwaukee.
Yeah, Klein's a little more pricier, but
Yeah.
Klein Tools all through my career. It was Klein Tools. Yeah, there you go.
A pair of $10,000 Kleins.
Yeah.
These are 10,000. Man, you can't really.
Are
tell.
they like beryllium copper or something? Like what makes them so expensive?
These are fallen lineman pliers. So the reason they cost so much money, they don't cost 10 grand, but they're actually a lot more money than the regular Kleins because it's a grant. And if you die and you can't afford a funeral or you need expenses, you turn them in and Klein gives you your money. But if you don't need the money, you're not supposed to take it. Make sense?
Yep. I know all about that.
Yep.
So when guys see you and they have these, they recognize right away what these two are because normally the whites are glow in the darks, but the doubles, they already know. And you can't see the picture's horrible. And I use these, right? And that was other guys telling me, dude, you shouldn't use them, bro. You should hang them on your wall. I'm like, what the hell? That's retarded. No. No, I'm going to use them. So you can see I have used them as a hammer, right?
Yep, absolutely. And
So
just as they
the
say,
spirit of the tool, right?
Yeah. So all this from here up is like the American flag. You can't really see it. And here is alignment. But yeah, but they're.
And the rule is when you're using it for a hammer, do not knock the lineman off the pole. It's the other side of the pliers as a hammer.
Yeah.
I would think not knocking the lineman off the pole would be good whether you're hammering or not.
But yeah. So when someone see them, like, yeah, those are my $10,000 nines.
Yeah. So ATX says you can't VCarve with a laser or a Eufy. Exactly. That's why one tool just won't do it.
Tim says, I have a box, never opened Bamboo One Mini, Steve. Want to talk?
Huh. What could I trade for an A1? There's probably something.
A lot of things you can do with that A1.
Yeah. I mean, I got a couple in storage, not A1s. I got a couple of 3D printers in storage, but
Clark said he started at 365 days to count.
Yeah,
down.
I started
year.
at one day. I just went in the next day. I says, "Here is my notice."
Did you
Write
give
it
him
up?
a 2-week notice?
No, I didn't even give it 2 weeks. And the company I worked for absolutely panicked because of what I did. And they come back and, well, are you willing to work as a consultant? I go, well, for the right amount of money, I would do that for a while.
Yeah, it's the consulting thing is a good gig because you can quit your job, go back and do the same job for about 3 times the money.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, because they're not paying into your union bends. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing was too, I didn't work with tools at this time because of what I was doing. It was all strictly engineering and design, so I wasn't breaking any rules.
Yeah. Star Texas said, "Yeah, I always made fun of as an apprentice. I had Milwaukee everything.
Yeah,
Klein everything.
yeah. If you're an electrician, you got to go Klein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to tell guys when they got the job, if they had tools like that, bring them back to your truck. And then if they showed up dressed and they weren't wearing Carhartt, we said, tomorrow you better show up in Carhartt. Look like your paycheck. You weren't allowed to wear jeans with holes in them. If your jeans had holes in them, you better go change. No way you could show up with jeans with holes in them.
Jeez, tough gig.
No, you make a shit ton of
software
money.
engineer. You're lucky if they're wearing clothes.
But customer sees you, they want you to see like you're worth your money. You have to look professional, look the part.
Hey,
that was a big thing, especially with the position I had. I actually had to wear polo shirts most of the time, or a uniform shirt because of what I did. But yeah, you couldn't be showing up with dirty jeans or holes in them or torn up boots or anything like that. You had to look professional.
Yep. ATX Woodcraft said, I retired May 9th, and now I work from 6 a.m. to dark in the shop, in the yard, retired my butt.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what I was saying. When I took that time off, I said, this is retirement's like. I need to sell my house.
I think if you're doing retirement right, you'll wonder how you ever squeezed in the time to do a full-time job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I have no time. I don't know how I ever did a full-time job.
Besides everything else we do, we've had our greenhouses and nursery for 30 years. And during that time, I was working. And of course, we don't have employees now, other than my granddaughter works for us from time to time. But I wondered how the hell I ever got that done before.
Go back to this previous comment here, Rick. So Andrew is worried. So I do have a laser that I've promised him. He wants the X-Tool F1 Ultra. Do you still have your F1 Ultra, Skyler?
I sold it last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of. I need space in my shop because ironically, X-Tool is coming out with a new laser, so I have to make room for it.
Yep, kind of same thing here. Just wanted to make room. Plus, I never do any engraving, so for me, it was not doing me any good.
Yeah, most of the engraving I do is for videos, most of the time.
So Stephen Haskett.
I like this.
He's not in our live today, but normally he is. He's only purchased the Iker K1 Pro for me.
Oh yeah.
I do said I had a girlfriend leave me for a tractor salesman. Never said anything, but wrote me a John Deere letter.
Oh, grown.
She must have thought his tractor was sexy.
Yeah, Rich, I hear you here. Rich says he retired November 30th, 2015, and works more now than ever. Yeah, absolutely.
Almost 10 years ago. Wow.
I retired in 2019, and I put in more hours now than I did before I retired.
Well, I still got about 20 years left, guys, so that's enough retirement talk.
I make less. I make about a third of what I was making when I was working, but I enjoy every hour I do it. Which is
I can actually say that I am making more now than when I was working.
That's nice.
And that's how we can afford to do all these Mexico trips and everything.
Steve, don't say anything because not everyone can do OnlyFans, right? I mean, you have a unique niche.
Well, yeah. So I was going to say, make no mistake, I make an average salary.
We all don't have that body, Steve.
But as a software engineer in the crazy world we live in, you can make insane amounts of money, like doctor, lawyer kind of money.
But No, appreciate the laughs, everyone. So, of course, if you have any questions, let us know. Let us know.
Oh yes, I wondered when this question was going to come up. Star of Texas. I want to find out what kind of star he is of Texas.
Well, Star of Texas.
Maybe he's an
5-point
OnlyFans
star.
guy too. I have an ultra. I can't do the y'all thing. Do you have any comments on the XL laser? Is a new thing. Yeah, the top end of it is an 80-watt diode laser and a 60-watt MOPA laser.
That's crazy.
I talked to these guys months ago about this. It's one of these things I think is to some degree an answer looking for a question. Like, I don't know. I mean, it looks cool, and it's definitely going to be an incremental improvement to some things. But the real question is it a problem for something else? Does it create more problems?
What I would say is that a 60-watt MOPA lasers, you can do some pretty awesome stuff. It's pretty powerful. An 80-watt diode laser, like, wow. But my experience, when anytime you make a multi-tool of anything, it's never the best of either. And I'm not saying bad about the brands. I'm just saying in general, whenever I bought a tool, when I bought anything that's a multi, it's never been as good as if I just bought that one particular tool, not one particular.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, certainly if you're in the business, like if you're in a business, so you want tools that are making money, then the last thing you want is one tool that can only work half the time on projects, right? Like this tool is either doing fiber work or doing diode laser work, and yeah, it might be a combination of both in one thing, but while it's doing one of those, it can't be a laser doing a project on something else.
And to the point, what Steve's saying is they're both high enough for the lasers that you'd probably want to use them both, right? I mean, it's not like one's a 1 watt, 1.2 watt IR, and the other's 20. I mean, how often you can use a 1.2 watt versus 20? A 60 watt diode, that's pretty powerful. I mean, you're getting up there competing with the CO2. I'm sorry, 80 watt diodes, like comparing with a CO2.
Yeah, they do have a bunch of different configurations. I think from 20 watt diode all the way up. In fact, 20.
And is that like a gantry style laser where you have to actually change the module?
No, you don't have to change anything. Oh. Like they actually have on the gantry, they have the Galvo fiber laser. So it can get to a point, and then it can do some fiber Galvo stuff, and then it can move somewhere else.
Seems pretty wild.
It's I don't know.
It's not going to be cheap
though. That's the thing. Like you could buy a separate. I mean, you can't buy an 80 watt diode laser, at least not yet. But you can buy a separate 60 watt diode laser or 70 watt and a 60 watt MOPA, and it was probably going to be cheaper than both of these combined.
Right, but then the other thing too is the workspace is definitely going to be bigger on a diode laser versus the combo, right?
Yeah. Well, this thing looks kind of like It's these two lasers, but it looks kind of like a CO2 laser. It's like that form factor.
Okay, I got you.
So
it's laying down on side.
It's a bit interesting. Now, Michael over at Laser Engraving 911, he's been pushing hard on these things, and I don't know. It hasn't generated a lot of excitement. I don't know why.
Plus, also, if something happens to your laser, both of your lasers are out. Versus if you have two machines now, at least you have the other one still going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't heard of this laser until his comments. So
yeah, I don't even know if it's in Kickstarter yet. If it isn't, it's close. Like I think it is now. But
to me,
the only people I've seen review it are. Michael from Laser Engraver 911, and I think Brandon over at Make or Break is also looking at it. Both are pretty hardcore salespeople, though.
Yes. Yeah, I would say it sounds awesome, but sometimes there's old saying some things may be too good to be true, right?
Yeah.
So not going to be flawless.
I'm a little skeptical of this one. It might be great. I don't know, but
sounds crazy. Sounds crazy, but it's we last week we were talking about 70 watts being too powerful, and we thought the war was over. Now here you go with 80 watts.
I think the thing to realize here is that you're not going to get any fine engraving with an 80 watt laser.
Now that beam's got to be pretty big.
Yeah,
it's like coloring one of these.
Yeah, like a bingo marker.
Yeah. So it was asked earlier in the live, what are some Father's Day's ideas you guys think would be easy sellers? So if anyone has any comments, suggestions, leave them in the comments below. What you think may be some great ideas to pitch for Father's Day.
So the ultimate tacky Father's Day laser gift I've seen is a tie, but it's made out of a living hinge. Have you seen those? So it's
No.
flexible.
That's cool.
What do you mean
It's
by
not
a
In a
cool.
living
It's
different
hinge?
tacky.
way.
What do you mean by a living hinge?
So it's flexible. I don't have a piece here, but you take a piece. Oh, this stuff. Oh crap! It's tied to my wall. I can't show it to you. You can basically carefully cut a piece of plywood, and then it becomes flexible.
Okay.
I
Score
did a
it.
video on it 2 years ago, probably.
Yeah, I've done some of those hinges before. They're pretty cool.
They're cool.
I've saw something online. I'm just going to show. I took a screenshot of it just to keep it for reference. But a really cool idea for Father's Day. It's a
Oh, a
little
tie
shirt
cutting board.
There you go. That's cool.
It's like a
Fancy.
tuxedo cutting board.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that hard. I mean, it's just 3 stripes, couple of dots, and a bow tie.
It wouldn't be that hard for you, but that looks pretty difficult.
Well, you have the CNC now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Captain
CNC,
Ken-
that'd be a piece of cake.
Captain Skyler, your videos are easy to follow.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed them.
Louisiana Hobby Guy said the Galvomatic by Rolly Automatic is incredible.
Yeah.
Fiber and dial. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, at the I'll say, I won't say low end, but it's certainly going to be cheaper than that XL laser thing. This one has probably good potential.
Crazy. We'll see. See as it comes out.
Well, it's normal, right? It's not like 80 watts of diode power. It's just a normal machine.
Yeah, and then the other thing is too is as long as it's real watts, right? Like how many times you used to see these
Yeah.
Jensen amplifiers, right? That you'd sell back in the day in the 90s. It was like 2,000 watts, and it was pushing.
Oh,
out
you're not old enough to remember like quadraphonic stereo from the 70s, where they were quoting like 1,000 watts a channel, but it was like peak pulse power or some crazy.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It was just-
Exactly. Chris said the problem with paying high jobs is the hourly rate is rubbish.
Yes. Yeah, what I discovered working in a big company, big tech company, is everybody in the company, their hourly wage is the same. So the CEO, yeah, he might make $10 billion a year, but he's working literally nonstop.
Yeah, Vlack said Laser 911 is pure sales. So I will say this, and I think I'll speak for all of us. We said that we will never be an infomercial, right?
Yeah.
Now keep in mind that when we're creating these videos, nothing's free. Even this live, this is like $1,200 a year just for us to even do this. So when we do drop affiliate links to do like that, we do appreciate that because it's not free to do these things, but we don't mislead anyone in any sort of way.
I did a video this week because I had a couple of people drop comments in about, oh, you get free stuff. Yeah, it ain't free.
Right.
I actually, and I mean, I think Skyler is the same way. I actually prefer not to do too many reviews because they take 3 times as long to do as a project video.
Yeah, we were talking before this live how I turned down so many people. I'm like, I don't want to do all these reviews. I'm like, I don't want my channel to be just about laser reviews. That's not why I started this. I just want to do woodworking. I want to have time to do the things that I love doing.
Yeah.
It's like those take time. Every video takes weeks of testing and back and forward and technical support.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always will do some because I have this, one of the sort of pillars of my channel is like workshop tech, right? And really to kind of show people what's coming. But you look at what's happening in the laser business now, and it's actually like they're all the same. Like, and Rick mentioned, people will always say, which laser is better, this one or this one, and you look at them and go, they're the same.
They're the same. Yeah.
I told myself
I will only review lasers that I actually want for myself in the shop.
Yeah,
And
well,
then
that's kind of where I'm getting to, right? Only review things that you would actually buy.
Yep.
So
something that's come up lately, and I know we've all been hit with them here, is they want me to review these, like what I call a mini laser. So it's like
Yeah.
3.5 watts, and it's got a really small work area, and it's like, no, I'm not even going to bother with it.
Yeah,
so
I did the one. I did the Pixie not that long ago. Only because it had the one cool factor it had was you could do things without being connected to a computer. So if you were doing like a craft show, a craft market, you could load up all your designs on your laser, and then you could just take your laser by itself, right, and just do personalization live without any computer. That was the only cool thing I saw about it. But it seems to be this weird trend now where they're trying to, yesterday they were trying to sell you a 70-watt laser. Today they're trying to sell you a 3-watt laser.
So Roger, since you brought it up, it appears like the influences circle small, right? We all kind of all know each other. It appears like our inner circle, so to speak, all said, want.
Yeah.
So they're coming back to me and now trying to do this. And I just said, I still don't know if I want to do it.
Well, one of the companies I replied to, I won't say which one it was, but I said, I do not, no, it wasn't Creality. I do not see a market for this. I just don't see it going anywhere. It's an open frame laser. It's not like something you take to a craft show and have it right out in front of people, because you'd have to have glasses on. I mean, it's just not, I just don't see the market for it, especially with that low of a power and that small of a work area. It's just, it's a $200 laser, but you can get a lot bigger laser than that for $200.
I was just thinking maybe I'd do the review if they give me like 5 and we can just flat out give them away. But then I'm thinking, like, does anybody even really want them? They're so small.
Yeah.
Plus, I know Steve loves making coasters, so I thought it could be a coaster.
Well, this Pixie, if you want to make one coaster at a time, it's a great laser.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Say with me, if I want to make a coasters, I'm doing 8 or 12 at a time.
It's a good laser, but it's like having me ask me to review something like that is kind of silly, because I do commercial stuff all the time, like B2B.
Those are very nice if they were geared towards beginner YouTubers,
and that's how I kind of pitched that one.
Right. But you look at Andy, right? Andy's number, like, second most viewed video on his channel was the $99 laser.
Yeah, but he spent most of that time telling you why not to buy it.
Right? So we have a question that says French cleats or shelves?
I do a lot of French cleats because I'm by myself. For example, all the cabinets in my shop, all the wall cabinets are hung on French cleats because I had to do it by myself. I had nobody there to help me.
I love French cleats, but I don't actually have any in my shop.
Yeah, I have shelves. Like lots of shelves.
But you can do a shelf on a French cleat too, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
Dennis said, can I safely cut a puzzle on my CNC equipped with a 20-watt laser?
I don't see why not, as long as you're not trying to cut a 2x4 or something.
Yeah, as long as you're not trying to cut the puzzle with your CNC.
Well, I would assume since you're cutting a puzzle, it's 1/4 inch.
Probably,
and that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. 20-watt 1/4 inch plywood on a 20-watt would be, you won't get nice edges.
It'd probably be a little brown, but they'll cut through. Yeah.
Well, if you're going to mount a photo on it after, although then you have to cut it again. The
Adamstack Craft is 20 watts and it cuts through 1/4 inch plywood like nothing.
Yeah, they've done some beam shaping in some of the newer lasers, right?
Yeah.
Beams used to be, you got four little diodes in there, then you got 4 distinct bars in the output beam. They don't have that anymore. So it's 20 watts, but the beam size is smaller. So
then it's just I don't think it's going to be ridiculous demand, but yeah.
Clack's got it right here. Yeah, Clack says he sticks with things that are relevant to his viewers. Yeah. Some of these are 12K machines. For some of these, 12K machines are a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of a stretch for a lot of people, not just viewers, right? Yeah. So I do. This is why I review the Pixie, right? Small things are relevant to a lot of folks. You know, the Pixie. If you're buying your first laser and you've never seen a laser and you just want to figure out if you want one, spend a couple $100, get one of these Pixies. You can do some practical stuff, and then you can go to the next thing. But that's the only reason for doing it. It's an entry product for sure.
I always find it mind-boggling, the things that we get offered, right, for cooperation or for review. I get emails for all kinds of things, like electric bike, like a bed that reclines, a desk, for fencing for the backyard, or railings, or I'm like, how would I do that? Like, why?
Yeah.
Well, I had one come to me for a breast pump. I sent that to Rick.
He did, actually. He did.
So I do have one coming up, which is a combination lock for a door, like a shop door. And the reason I'm doing that one is because I was going to actually put one of these on my door. And it's a little terrifying how the internet works, because generally I think about it and then someone will say, "Hey, do this." Same thing with the Lubatu mower I did last year, and I'm actually going to do another one. That one I did with the premise of, hey, it saves me 3 hours a week that I can be working in my shop. So, making money in your shop isn't always about standing there, carving out dovetails, right? Sometimes it's about not having to do something else.
Yeah, so I just got a email today that says supposedly the robot lawnmower is being shipped.
Yeah, so, which one is it?
Was it MoViewer? Remember I showed you guys last time? I'll find it.
The one I like is the Yarbo.
Yeah, the one that does the plowing and all that. Bestmo. Bestmo.com.
It looks a bit like a tank, but
yeah.
I like this here, Clayton, and I actually turned this down from longer. I was offered to review this. Stupid small 2.5 watt laser, and it's got an extremely small work area as well.
Yeah. I think we've all turned that one down. Yeah, it's like a 60 by 60 millimeter work area or something. Yeah, it's really small.
Like one coaster at a time thing.
Yeah, it might be 100 by 100.
Radu said a 1/4 inch thick puzzle. I think 1/8 inch would be plenty. Yeah.
Yeah, 1/8 inch will be okay.
The only reason I would say 1/4 versus 1/8 is because I think I'm worried about the edges.
Well, if you're making puzzles for children, 1/4 inch puzzles are good because you can make those really big meaty pieces, right?
Yeah.
But if it's a puzzle for I'll say adults, but we're all children at heart. 1/8 inch is probably fine.
But then if you print a picture with your UV laser, that hardens it and makes it a little bit thicker too.
The other thing is, if you're using 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch, you could also laminate it. And if you laminate it, you could sublimate over it. And then,
Yeah. Have you tried, Skyler, by the way, have you tried doing UV print and then laser, like UV printing a sheet of plywood and then laser cutting it?
I did not. I actually printed one and I was about to cut it, and then I don't know where I put it. But I'm thinking it should work because WeCreate, they just send me a whole bunch of plywoods that are UV printed with like textures.
They sent me a bunch of that, like, I don't know, a year ago, and it's all like weird flowery things.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even.
It's all sitting in the bottom of my material cabinet.
Yeah,
did we all get this package?
Yes, probably.
I got it too. So, and it's just sitting in the shop.
It's probably good for making earrings or something. I don't know.
I usually, a buddy of mine has a really young granddaughter, and that's usually hey, here, give one of these to your granddaughter. You guys go make something in the shop.
She said, "Happy Hump Day, guys. You missed me? Yeah, where you been, Nancy? Where have you been?
It's been a while."
ATX Woodcraft must use a metal backer to use a laser on the CNC for cutter. Don't burn the house down.
Even better if it's a honeycomb board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So quite a
Yeah.
people in the live right now. I would say, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but if you are not a member of our Facebook group, please join and please grow in it. We are actually, I think, like 20 members away. I'm like, I think 500. Let me check.
500. Yeah, we're getting close.
Let's see, 480 members. Yeah, so definitely appreciate if you guys join.
Subscribe to all those channels you see scrolling by there too.
Yep, absolutely. And it's Shop Talk Lives group. So in other words, if you own a business, if you're a fellow YouTuber, we don't care. It's post. It's not a competitive.
Yeah, we get a lot of Rich and Clack are on here tonight. We get a lot of YouTubers on too.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go look at their channels too. I certainly do.
Let's see.
Where'd we leave off?
Nancy said she was sick.
Well, glad
You
to
missed
have
it.
it.
She got the CO2 working. Nancy like went from like nothing to like a whole lot of stuff and then disappear.
That's the drug that is laser cutters, right? Laser engraving.
Hey y'all. Louisiana Hobby said, I get a lot of makeup and jewelry offers. I get a lot of makeup too. And I was like,
yeah.
I would get if they did like toys because my son's in a lot of my videos. And if it was something really cool, I may even do it just because my son's like reward him in a lot of my videos. But like the makeup, like what?
Yeah, I've had all of these things: running shoes, shirts,
Now the electric
clothing
bike,
in general.
I'm a fat boy. I would actually
dog
do
toys, dog collars, cat toys.
Like I think in the close to 300 videos I've done, I've only shown my shoes once.
Yeah, I was offered beds, desks, everything.
Power blinds, window blinds.
Oh yeah, they won't
blinds
stop
too,
with the power
blinds.
blinds.
Yeah.
At least 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And like
AI
patio
power blinds.
rails.
Now I actually do have a power blind here in my studio because I can push one button over here and have all the lights turn on and closes the blinds and stuff. So I do have them, but
yeah.
Star
Skyler,
Alexa says, Skyler, do you still use the M1 Ultra? No, I have not really used it. I still have it. It's collecting dust. It was really fun to play with. I thought I would make more T-shirts with it or something with the ink infused, but it's actually stored into my photography studio.
There you go. Nancy said, speaking of Nancy, anyone have any opinions on Adam Sack Hurricane? So she's looking
I think Clack reviewed this one. It looks interesting.
I have not.
Like if you're looking at like an X tool or an Omtech, this is right in there, right? Like it's competitive.
Is that the 55-watt CO2 laser?
Yeah, it's designed to compete head to head with the X tool P2S.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except it's about, I don't know, $1,500 cheaper.
Don't get the Monport though. They have the worst customer service.
I have a Monport, but fortunately, I've never had to contact customer service.
Well,
I have a friend. He bought the CO2 laser like 4 months ago now, and has not worked out of the box. He still did not fix it. It's not working, and he actually bought the X Tool P2S just like a week ago because he's like, I can't make this thing work, and I have orders, and I need to cut templates. And
yeah, my first Monport K40 was a dud. And they finally couldn't figure it out, so they sent me a second one. And then they told me mail them the first one back, and I said, "Okay, well, where's the return authorization label?" They said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not paying to ship this back." They said, "We'll keep it as parts." So my second one has been fine, but the first one was a dud.
Yeah,
K40. I'm surprised that the laser industry even got started, given that K40s were kind of the first products out there, right? They were terrible. Didn't matter who made them; they were awful.
Yeah, I kept saying that the Monport K40 was like the pre-mod K40, right? It just came to the things everyone was doing to them, you know. But a K40 is a K40, right?
Looks like Rich got the We Create package too.
Yeah,
I've looked at that. I've looked at the polka dot one, but I haven't played with it.
I have not
the
peeled the plastic off of mine. It's still in the stack. I just got it out of the box.
Radu said, Clack has some videos on. Not sure if he's still here. He may not want to self-promote. We know how humble he is and stays reserved.
Well, he's welcome to self-promote. He does a good job.
Vax said, I had a horrible experience with Monport customer service. Is awful. They
So
recently gave us some, what is that, spray?
Spray.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried it yet? I haven't, to be honest.
I didn't bother getting any. I don't do any metal engraving on a CO2. So if Monport if they're worse to customers than they are to content creators, they got to be pretty bad.
Yeah, that's crazy. Madra said, I have a crosshair when I move my mouse in Lightburn. Is a way to get rid of it. I'm very new.
Oh, there's a setting for it. It's in the preferences. You can change the.
All right, Louisiana hobby guys in the building.
Yeah, Rich is here.
Do you have an answer to this? You
Yeah,
probably
Rich
know.
ought to be able to answer that one. I don't have that when I use mine, but I've never looked at changing.
Yeah, you can change the.
I know you can change it in preferences. I just don't know
Yeah.
it from the top of my head. I don't really use Lightburn.
Yeah. We'll get back to you. We'll be back.
Yeah, I'm sure Rich has it memorized by now.
Louisiana hobby guy said the K40 was invented for stamps, PC boards, hence the small clamp.
Yeah.
Conport. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I think the K40 evolved before people even knew what lasers were useful for, right?
Yeah.
And it just people pushed the market and they just couldn't keep up with the K40s.
Wow, look at this. Jim said, Monport customer service is so bad, Discover card refunded my full purchase. So, yeah, they rubbed a few people the wrong way.
Wow.
And it's what's crazy is that it doesn't matter how big of an ad campaign you can have on, Google or Facebook. These Facebook groups are powerful.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
rub
Word
a
of
person the
mouth,
wrong
the
way,
most
and
powerful.
they make their opinion on something,
But-
it can really hurt you.
When I did the I don't do bad reviews video, this is one of the reasons you've never seen a Monport on my channel, is because I had such a miserable time just trying to get them to set up to let me look at one, that I just said, screw this. And it's like, you guys are too much trouble.
I was back and forth with them too a little bit, and then they kind of ghosted me. I was like,
So when they approached me on the K40, I wanted a fiber laser. And they said, well, do the K40, and then you can do the fiber laser. So I did the K40, and I was like, where's the fiber laser? And they just dragged for like 11 months. And then I was just like, you're wasting my time.
Yeah, they started that when I was talking to them too. Well, look at one of our CO2 lasers first. It's like, no. If what I have is a demand from people who watch my channel to talk about fiber lasers, and that's what I want to talk about. And that's how I ended up striking up a bit of a relationship with ComMarker.
HX Woodcraft said,
to be clear, they don't pay me. I just they're actually respectable. And
HX Woodcraft said, just fired the Monport 65 Pro. It's a mean machine. I used to cut the protective laser window for the Atom Stack 40 Max. So far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, conceptually, they're good. They're good lasers, but we all live and die by support these days, right? And if their support is terrible, then the laser is only going to be as good as that if you ever run into problems, right? If you're, we'll say a hacker, or, you're handy with things, you understand lasers, you're going to be fine.
The other flip side of that coin too, though, Steve, is that sometimes the support can be horrible, but they have a great, huge following. So you don't get help from the manufacturer, you get help from other users.
Yeah, and
I would say for any laser manufacturer, if you see a lot of Facebook groups, that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
if it is bad, you'll know right away. But
and that's kind of ComMarker too, right? Like, it's not that their support is horrible; they just don't have enough people to support all the lasers they've sold. So anytime I have somebody ping me to say, "Hey, I've got a problem with a ComMarker laser," my inevitable answer is go sign up to one of their Facebook groups, because you're going to find, first of all, the support people hang out there, but people who've had whatever laser you have, they've had it for months and they've understood all the problems.
Rich said, I heard my name come up, but I didn't hear the question. Let me find the question.
It was about changing the crosshair in Lightburn to something
an arrow or something. Yeah.
I'm trying to find the question. Oh, here you go. Here you go, Rich. I have a crosshair when I move my mouse in Lightburn. There's a way to get rid of it. I'm very new. If you know the answer, we'd appreciate it. Ellen, painter's tape over crosshair fixes that.
You just have to put painter's tape over your whole screen.
Tim said to change the cursor, go to settings, displays, and turn off full screen line cursor. There you go. Check it out. Ask and you shall receive.
The community helps.
I'm just leaving it on for a little bit just in case she didn't get to it. Nancy said, I regret my mom port purchase. So let me ask you, Nancy, was it because you couldn't get the mirrors aligned? Just beat your head against the wall for a while, or really what was it? I'm assuming that's what it was. Vac said, I agree. The machines all have decent, not top tier parts, but if you need support, you're better off buying from eBay drop shipper. Yeah, man, Monport is just getting beat up today.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, I do have Monport, and I have had problems with it, mostly with the thermistor displays going bad and having to replace them. But otherwise, as far as performance, it works just fine. And I only use it for cutting acrylic. Once I cut some fabric with it for a demonstration video, but otherwise, all I use it for is clear acrylic. I don't use it for anything else.
Yeah, I saw that lace design you were doing.
Yeah, I did some stuff with
It was a joke.
no, I actually did some. I actually cut lace out of denim
Okay.
just to show it could be done. If somebody asked me if you can cut fabric on a CO2 laser, sure you can.
So if you ever see Roger fishing on the river in some Daisy Duke laser cut shorts, mind your business. It was for Monport.
Oh, my eyes. I want to poke them out. I can't unsee
that
that.
mental image.
I can't unsee that.
Maybe we'll end up in a beer commercial or something.
Yeah.
Nancy said, yep, it isn't working properly.
Well,
Yeah.
you're in Florida, right, Nancy? You could always wait till January. Send me an airplane ticket. I'll go down and align your laser. Everything will be cool. I'll go to the beach. Although, Nancy, actually, since you're down in that area, if you are looking for some work, I have a customer down in Florida that I've been working with for a while, but it's just too hectic trying to get things across the border. So he has a bunch of work, and I've been delaying it. If you're interested, let me know. Shoot me an email.
Well, I don't know if you saw Facebook buzzing today, Steve, but according to Trump, Canada is pretty serious about becoming one of our states, so you could really not have to worry about those.
I was wondering when that's coming.
Oh, boy.
We got a decent Canadian following, and it doesn't have to mention that my in-laws are all Canadian. So anytime I post anything about Trump, they're like, no.
See, without being too aggressively bashing of your government, I don't care if Russia or China shoots missiles across my country to get to you guys. So, I don't need to spend $61 billion to shoot them down before they get to you.
Yeah, that was crazy though. They said so do you know why Mexico and Canada don't need a $61 million missile program? Because no one's shooting missiles at them.
Yeah.
It's like,
see, I figure the solution to our problem is we just call up the Russians or the Chinese and say, hey, we got some land here about 50 miles from the U.S. border. Do you want to put a base here for a while? Just do whatever you want there.
Yeah, I don't know. We got
the world's just
crazy times ahead of us. Crazy times ahead of us.
You got to joke about it because reality hurts too much.
Yeah.
Alan here is saying Monport customer support gets beat up in their official Facebook group. Seems to be okay with it. So does Creality. They get beat up all the time, and they just seem to be fine with that.
Craddy, we'll still take your project. Roger just hate you. Just kidding. Roger does hate you though. A Tezer is officially gone.
Yeah, I think they were just a bit of a flash anyway, right?
Yeah. She said, I did buy the alignment tool. You know, I
Oh,
did hear
there
a
you go.
lot of horror stories about receiving CO2 lasers, and not because of the manufacturer, just because UPS is going to beat the hell out of your package
Yeah, it's
that they
like
become misaligned, and that is something you definitely have to learn. But
what I keep telling people is even diode lasers, they're not like a toaster, right? It's not an appliance you can take out of the box and just it'll work forever. These are
precision
precision in instruments, right? And
Yeah.
you know, if UPS drops the thing the last foot off the tailgate onto your driveway, well, yeah, that's going to jolt things out of alignment. And I mean, I had to the first X-Tool P2 I had to align it. And it wasn't because it wasn't a line coming out of the factory. It was because a bunch of bozos dropped the thing on the floor in my workshop when they brought it in.
Yeah. Yeah, so that sucks. But yeah, but I hear the horror stories, and not just one particular manufacturer, just in shipping in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now having said that, CO2 lasers they're definitely not the appliance of the laser world, right? They do require some TLC, and you have to know how to align them because they're eventually going to work themselves out of alignment.
Yeah. It's like
We got a little spam there.
Yeah.
Rick.
Yeah, I saw that. Hold on.
Yeah, whose is it? It's not on my channel, I don't think. Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say wouldn't let me remove it.
Wait, it didn't go away. I hope it
Luke
didn't.
and Abigail said the Aeon Mir 5 was dropped off the back of the truck. Alignment was perfect.
Some are packed better than others.
Yeah. Plus, you don't know how many times you got kicked before you saw that kick. I used to work at UPS. I know they take some beatings sometimes. Yeah. When I was in high school, I worked at UPS.
Yeah, FedEx isn't any better. I mean, we've had things delivered here. One of the things was an ice maker. It's got huge signs on it. Do not put upside down. And I even have a picture of it. It was left in front of our garage upside down. So, you know, when you got a refrigeration compressor, so you turn it right side up, you got to let it set for at least 24 hours before you even attempt to turn it on.
Yeah. Clay says trying to build a Mitchell station at Alta Island.
I don't know where Alta Island is.
Oh,
somewhere, got to be somewhere in the Hawaiian chain.
Yeah. Crazy times, man.
Because that's where Clayton lives, and there's no reason to leave Hawaii once you're there.
I tell you what, man, we've had wars on top of wars on top of wars. It's time to cool the waters, man. We do not need another war.
I don't get it.
Yeah. You said it's near Hawaii.
Near Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, a lot of people are getting out of the military just because they don't stand behind some of the, you know, these decisions that are being made, and you know, it's crazy. So anyone who is serving in our country, and I say your family or you, because I think when your daughter, son, or son-in-law, you know, you're kind of serving too, because you're missing when they're not there. You know, during these difficult times, man, my prayers are with you, because we're in some scary times right now.
Yeah, I've had lots of my family has been military. My brother, they're all retired now because, you know, we're all old geezers. But
Eddie says, if you were to buy your first laser, what would it be?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but for me, with my experience with all these different brands, my least troublesome laser brand has been from Longer.
Yeah,
Ray 5 and the B1 have been just absolutely no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, I have never had problems with them.
The Longer B1 is the workhorse, super powerful.
I have two of those, and I have a Ray 5 that I've expanded to 800 millimeter square work area, and they just work.
So
no problems, just work.
I've been meaning to do the video, the comparison, the 35 versus the 40 watt, and I honestly didn't expect really to see a big difference between the 35 and the 40 watt. and making those jack-o'-lanterns out of cedar picket fences. I mean, they're pretty thick. I'm cutting straight through them. And yes, it is leaving charring, but that's also some of the charm with a jack-o'-lantern. There was a drastic difference between the 40 and the 35 watt. So, yeah, and we always say buy within your means. Go ahead, Sky.
I think for the first laser, my first suggestion would be a X-Tool S1. They're not too expensive, but very reliable. I had one and used it exclusively for over a year, and I cut with it like many hours every day, cutting pieces like this that I was making for boxes and stuff. And
That looks so
never
cool.
had a problem with it. Sold it, it was still going strong.
Yeah, Rich is on. I know he doesn't like X-Tool, but the thing, I know they have good service, good support, because I've had to use it. I had to replace the control board in one of mine. They're not the cheapest, but they're safe. So the thing I don't like about the B1 is it's an open frame laser, so you're going to have to build a box for it. Otherwise, you're going to go blind, or someone wandering into your shop will go blind.
Or purchase the enclosure.
So, I would say buy something that is like a class 1 type laser enclosed. And I don't know if Longer has one like that.
No, not yet.
You'd have to buy the enclosure that goes over the top of it.
Yeah, and those enclosures tend to be terrible. I haven't seen theirs, but
yeah, I my enclosure, the one that I've ever liked the best, I like the Atezer because it was FR, and every other enclosure I've ever seen has not been. So I really like the fact that they did that fireproof. That was pretty nice that they did that. The Longer one seems like if it catches on fire, whoo, you're in trouble. But definitely keeps the smoke out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying anything bad about X-Tool, but I was just saying I think X-Tool sometimes is a selection of somewhere deeper pockets. And it's
definitely not the cheapest.
It's definitely a different investment tier. But maybe you're getting a different quality product. But, if you want watts for watts, X-Tool is going to be here, and any other brand is going to be down here.
Yeah, I see down in the comments here, Rich is talking about the Lasermatic. That's another good one to start with. I have yet to see somebody complain about the Lasermatic.
Chris said my CO2 arrived with mirrors hot glued in alignment with a note saying was only for shipping. Yeah, my CO2s, my mom port came with everything hot glued.
Yeah, mine did too.
Yeah. Clayton says my Longer Ray 510 watt is awesome.
Yeah, but I have an advantage with using open frame lasers like that because there is absolutely nobody in my shop but me. So I can run an open frame laser of class 4 and not worry about anybody getting blinded or anything else because I'm the only one there.
Same with me.
Well, I mean, generally I am too. And I mean, if somebody's coming into my shop, I've been forewarned, but I just, even just for myself, because while my laser's doing something, I'm off doing some other project, and you never know, right?
I've done that so many times when I was working with open lasers, and I would wear my glasses, my protective glasses, and then I would try to clean through the shop and do something because I don't want to leave my laser unattended. And then I was like, I'll just cut this piece of wood for my next project on my miter saw. And I swapped my glasses for my safety glasses from the laser glasses. And then I forget. And by the time I turn around, I still have the other. I'm like, I'm blinded. And it's like, you forget that you don't have the correct glasses on.
Yeah. And it happens fast. I do have a laser burn in the back of my left eye, not from now, from back in the late 80s when I was doing industrial lasers. So it can happen. It can happen pretty easily.
The only reason I like open frame laser personally is for the pass through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most enclosed lasers have some way to
what I'm saying is, if I was going to say what was the reason I'd want one, that would be really my only reason.
Yeah. I know. But I mean, they're cheaper for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even have the riser for my P2S because I don't like the fact that it's not as sealed as without the riser. So I have my, they sent me
I
the
never
riser,
got a
and I
riser
threw
for
it
mine
out.
either. Like I don't do any rotary stuff on that laser,
Yeah, me neither.
so I didn't need a riser.
So has anyone
I
actually?
do a whole business with risers. Here's someone right here.
Have any of you actually ever done or personally owned the Lasermatic? I have not.
Rich certainly has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't, but I've talked to lots of people who own them, and they seem to like them.
Oh, Steve, I think he's talking to you.
Tool?
Yeah, I said you're a tool.
No, he said he's seen my OnlyFans
I'm just
channel.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Thinks you're a tool. War on economy tolls these days. Yes.
Yeah.
You couldn't say.
Yeah, I've been trying to formulate a video around what's going on around this, what it means to makers. I think it's not all bad for makers.
So I was wanting to make some type of content on that, and I thought no matter what I said, I was going to anger a lot of people, and I said I was better off just keep my mouth shut, because when you go down that rabbit hole, it just becomes political.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to stay out of it.
Everybody loves to hate talking about politics, right?
Yeah. So we all know Roger's a big Trump fan, so we'll just leave it alone. ATS Woodcraft said Creality cover works good.
Yeah, Trump's right there with Creality. With me.
My official stance on politics is no one who wants to run a country should ever be allowed to. History is not on our side when that happens.
Creality cover works good, but the fans are a bit small. You know, we talked about the air purifiers, right? And having the air filters in when you're indoors. And if you are using a air purifier and you're indoors and it's externally vented, remove the filters. Don't use them. Just use it as a strong source to remove from your enclosure and blow it outside. And if you went to an event that it cannot be externally vented, throw the filters in there. And I'm telling you, we were saying with the enclosures, the longer B1, it has an enclosure. It had negative pressure. Literally, when I hooked up the Adam Craft, it was like, poof, it like sucked it in. Talk about zero amount of smoke inside that enclosure. It is, wow, it's super powerful. So that's all I have to say. Clayton said, I can't wait to see the Galvamatic in action.
Yeah, I don't know. Rich, do you have one of these yet?
No. Clack in the shop said, if someone comes in my shop, the laser is the last thing they need to worry about.
I can relate to that. My shop's more like a mouse maze, and you better be looking down wherever you walk.
Yeah. My wife gets mad if I bring anyone to the basement. She's like, did you tell them it's gonna look like a hoarder fest?
See, I have people come into my shop, so it has to be reasonably clean. It's always disorganized though. Same with my desk. I've got like stepper motors and electronics and even a coaster.
It seems like I get it super clean, and then I take on a bunch of projects, and it just gets like dusty, you know. And then like before I do my next big project, I go through a super clean, but it's just like a constant battle, right?
Yeah.
Texas of the Star Design said, I started with an Arturo Laser Master 2 back in 2021.
I had a Laser Master 1, a Laser Master 2, and those are both gone now, and I still do have a Laser Master 3.
Yeah, I had
in an enclosure, no less.
So the shocking thing here is we all know what a Laser Master 2 was like. This was 2021. This was only 4 years ago. Look where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you turn your laser on, it didn't even move.
It didn't have limit switches.
Remember, mine didn't move. Remember? It was like, why isn't this thing moving? And I had to actually put a command prompt in, then all of a sudden it moved.
Yeah, you had to enable it. Turn off the
they locked it during shipment. Nowhere in the directions or instructions anywhere did it say we locked this thing.
Oh, the Ofuro.
Yeah.
I actually did a video on that, on how to unlock it and defeat that.
Yeah, I think that's how I found you. Nancy said, I want a desktop CO2. Do you think I'll be okay with an Atom Stack Hurricane? I'm scared because they're so cheap. Is it lower quality?
Well, if Clack is still on, he can comment on the quality, but go watch Clack's video. it's desktop CO2. You're certainly looking at the Hurricane, the X-Tool P2S, the Alltech
Thank you.
one. There's a few of them.
Nancy, my only advice to you, and please take this the nicest way possible. If the real only reason or your real only heartburn with the mom port was lens alignment, I think that's CO2's period. So the struggle will not be removed. So I think if you're going to stay in the CO2 lane, that's something you need to master.
Having said that, this is one of the reasons why, I like the X-Tool. They have a laser alignment process built into XCS. And basically it's about as brain dead simple as you can get. Is the beam going through the hole in the next mirror? Yep. Then okay, it's aligned. It
shows you exactly, move this screw more this way, or
if it is out of alignment, if it's not going through the hole, then they walk you through that repair remediation process, and it's as simple as it can get. I mean, you still have to do it. You still have to know how to align.
Right.
Well, you have to align. You don't have to know what's happening when you align, because the software is telling you what to do.
But just know that's just a maintenance thing with a CO2 laser.
CO2 lasers they have maintenance. That's just how they are.
Yeah. I just said, Jack, you saw my shop on live. It's clean most of the time.
I can't say that about mine.
Well, you've seen a bunch of boxes behind me, so yeah, they're stacking up there. My son said that he wanted me to leave them there because he wanted to do when the final part came, saying, "It's here." and I stand up behind the box and say, "Okay." And then we stop the video and take it all apart and put it together. So
my shop, it's a complete mess. I have a lot of projects going on. I'm building a vanity here for my daughter. That's what I have behind me. Lots of lumber for boxes and stuff.
How do you like
I lean a little high on the autistic spectrum, so I just can't have a mess like that.
How do you like that DeWalt planer?
I mean, it works just fine. I had it now for 2 years, and I need to change the blades because I have not changed them for 2 years, and I use it a lot on epoxy and wood and stuff, but I didn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, I saved $300 not buying a DeWalt, and everything I own was DeWalt, and look what happened. The third time pulling it out, it stopped working.
I've got one of those DeWalt planers, and I've had it for quite a few years now, gone through several sets of blades. The next time I go through, when I need to turn the blades over the next time, I'm probably going to put a helix head in it.
Yeah. I think that's, you guys know I'm a Lowe's affiliate, and a Lowe's sells DeWalts now. So I think my next tool from Lowe's will be that planer.
Yeah, it's been doing me good, so I can't complain about it.
I will say one thing, it's not something you want to pick up and carry around much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are heavy.
Yeah.
I know when I built a stand for it, I had a video on it and building the stand, and then I just picked it up from the floor and put it on it, and most of my comments were like, "Holy moly, you picked that thing up on the floor!"
Oh yeah, it's close to 100 pounds. And I actually have built a flip stand that has my DeWalt 12-inch miter saw on one side. The planer is going to be on the other side. I just haven't got the planer mounted on the flip stand yet. But I had to really build that flip stand heavy duty.
Yeah,
because of the weight that's going to be on that thing.
Yeah, my luck, it'd fall off. So I don't know if I'd be that creative. Jim said, "I just bought a pair of safety glasses, thrilled, covered, bolt, CO2 galvo, and UV." Yeah, I think I have like glasses hanging every
galvo
wall.
CO2 and a galvo UV you're at opposite ends of the spectrum here. Basically, you're looking through what amounts to black acrylic at this point, right?
A welder shield.
Well, almost, right? Yeah. I mean, it probably allows light spectrum in between those two, but
yeah, every wall I have glasses, like on this wall behind me, this wall, because there's lasers everywhere. So,
but this is the challenge with CO2s, with galvos, right? They're all open, and it's like the worst possible kind of laser for open. So, Rich, I don't know. Do I have a 3 to 4 inch exhaust?
Was that Roger? Roger, was that you that had that?
Must be Roger.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, Rich, if I could still find that, I made quite a few of them here a while back. If I could find that, I'll get it sent to you. If I still have the STL, I don't remember if I saved it or not. It was easy to make. I did it in Tinkercad.
Nancy said, I knew I was in the right place. What do they say? Sometimes you get the answer you don't want to hear, but it's the truth. Sorry, Nance. We love you. Luke said, the only Gavel-matic for the pre-order launch testing video when the owner came on from China. I expected the beta to get I expected the beta here any day.
Okay. Interesting to see that.
Always interesting to get these betas because, or even better, get an alpha.
Yeah, I've had a few of those.
Yeah.
The Omni One, actually, I got a very, very early version of that.
Yeah. Well, you guys did the Atom Stack. I think it was the Atom Stack, right? The one with what was it, Atom Stack? One with the AI. Was it Atom Stack or?
That's the one that you have too, right?
Yeah, I have to do over yet.
Yeah.
So then they contacted me and said they want me to do the video. And then they contacted me again and said, no, they want me to still wait. They're still working out kinks. So they still haven't. I guess there's like a second revision. They're going to do a third revision before they even release it. So they're still not even ready to send it out yet. So,
yeah.
So,
this is not my shop back here. This is AI at its best.
Clack said, I like the Hurricane pure light burn compatible machine.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to like that because, they don't want to relearn software. And I'm not saying that certain manufacturers won't have reasons to have their own proprietary software because they support certain features. Just if you're a creature of habit and you buy something, you're just hit the ground running, so to speak. Atom Stack does not have red line lasers built in. Alignment lasers built in.
Yeah, it says this from ATX Woodcraft. Thanks for the USB cord video. Even though I programmed $1 million robots, I checked to make sure there was no special cord for lasers. Never think you know it all. And there is a big thing, and I'll reiterate this with USB cables. Let's say, you buy a laser and it comes with a 3-foot long cable. Well, that isn't worth crap, unless you want your computer right next to it. So everybody wants to get a longer cable. Well, make sure you get a data cable and not a charging cable. Because if you get a charging cable, it will not pass the data. There's a huge difference there.
It doesn't have all the pins. Just doesn't have all the pins.
Yeah.
By the same
they
token,
tend to only be 2 conductor, right?
Yeah.
Well, 3 because they got a shield. But
and by the same token, if you're like in an airport and you want to charge your phone, make sure you're using a charger cable and not a data cable. If you're using a data cable on that public network, everybody's going to grab crap off your phone. So use a charging cable in the airport and data cable on your laser.
I don't. Somebody who has next to want to grab this one.
What machine do you recommend for basic hobbyist? Has an X-Tool D1 Pro 40. Yeah, I wouldn't say they abandoned it. It went through its useful life, but given its abandonment, their new entry level. Of their entry level customers, I don't want to purchase from them again. I don't know. I mean, you could look at WeCreate. You could look at pretty much any laser that runs light burn.
So Atom Stack or Tur, longer. Any of those are good brands.
Again, I'd say buy one that's enclosed just for safety. But
I was so impressed with the WeCreate the camera calibration. I've never seen that before on another laser. How easy it is that you don't have to move the little dotted paper or anything. Or the crosshairs.
Yeah, it's really super simple.
Yeah, I didn't have to calibrate this latest one. I did have to calibrate the previous one.
I calibrate my Atom Stack Craft.
But it is pretty simple.
Yeah, for this one, but you don't have to do anything. There is no dotted paper. You don't have to go find the crosshairs and choose. It's just automatic. You just push camera calibration and that's it.
Yeah.
Liz Lenig said, I had the alpha in my shop for a week. You said I have a Godzilla USB cable. How do I tell the difference?
Gazillion.
Gazillion USB cables.
Gazillion
Okay.
USB cables.
If it is a USB A to what I call USB print port, it's going to be a data cable. But if it's a USB A to A or USB A to micro or USB A to C or C to C, the only way you're going to know is to just try it. But if you're shopping for a cable, a USB cable, make sure it says data cable and not charging cable. Most of the ones like even on Amazon Basics will tell you if it's a charging cable or a data cable.
Yeah.
The data cable will cost a little more than a charging cable because it has more copper in it.
Yep. Toss them and start over. V, just try it. If it don't work,
I have a box full of USB cables because I'm too lazy to figure out which is which and just buy another one.
I just said I went out and bought a data cord just for the laser.
Yeah.
The other
And
thing
if you're going to go longer than 6 feet, don't buy a real cheap one.
yeah,
I mean, if you're going to go 10, 12, I've got one that's actually 20 feet long. It works fine, but make sure it's high end. Don't get some cheap.
yeah, like a
Or
belt
Or
pin.
buy a laser that's Wi-Fi. Although you
Yeah.
can't use Wi-Fi on Lightburn.
The other thing is that if you have to run, you could always buy like a USB hub that's powered, and you can throw a couple extra juice in there so you don't have that problem. Because if you start getting a longer cable and you just start seeing your laser time out or just all of a sudden getting screwy, it could be because it's not keeping up with the buffer. It's like it's not receiving the data, communicating fast enough. So just keep that in mind. Any opinion on how do you even say this?
Gleeky?
Gweeky.
M3, they have their live stream yesterday.
This
Never
is their
heard of
new
it.
welder cutter. It's competitive to the metal fab from Xtool, although this one's available in multiple sizes, which I think is kind of cool. Like multiple sizes for the CNC part of it.
Sorry. If they send it to us, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Are you guys getting the Xtool metal fab?
I don't think so. They got real tight. They originally said I was going to get one, and then they got real tight with shipping them. I think it's to do with just the tariffs, you name it, any excuse to slow things down, right? I mean, it's pretty pricey.
ATX Woodcraft said, I learned that data cables are thicker. Yeah,
Yes, they are.
Yeah, because they got actual 5 wires in them, not 2.
Not all data cables are equal. Get a good data cable. That's what I said. If you get a
Spend your money.
Belkin's a good brand.
Yeah.
They've been around forever and ever.
Make sure the connectors are gold plated.
I actually thought I had one laying here on the table with a ferrite core on it, but I don't have one here on this desk.
Yeah,
Don't go to
sometimes-
Five Below and then get mad that it doesn't work well. That's all I'm saying.
There.
I bought a cheap laptop to keep at my machine. Use OneDrive to sync from one design to
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I went to Best Buy. I said, "What's your cheapest laptop?" And the guy was trying to something like, "No, literally, I'm just trying to buy your cheapest laptop. Not like I'm being cheap. I just need the cheapest laptop you can." It was like 300 something. It works great. That's all I need it for. But the only thing I will say is that Lightburn sucks on a little tiny monitor because the way it does the tables.
Split screen.
Yeah. So I haven't. Since then, I use an external monitor, and my world's been
Just
great.
set the machine into remote mode and just virtual machine into the or just VNC into the thing.
remote access. Yeah. Just I have a Mac as my normal, and that's
Me too.
Yeah.
For things like VCarve, if I'm doing CNC, that I run on a virtual machine on my network. And I run Nextcloud to migrate. I don't shove things out to the public cloud to sync them.
Herb said, "Wow, all my favorite people are on here."
He's not talking about you, man.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
I'm not sure he's talking about any of us. He's probably talking about V and Clack and Rich.
I use a $100 mini PC with a 20-inch monitor for the CNC. There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, I do the same thing with the $100 PC, but I just don't have a keyboard or a mouse or monitor on it. I just remote in.
Dale said, "What CAD program do you guys use? Been looking for Plastic City. Any good?"
This is a sore spot with me this week because I've been fighting with AutoCAD or Autodesk about the price of Fusion. I use Fusion right now. I've used them all. I haven't used this one, ironically. I've looked at this one, and I don't know. It just seemed a little uninspiring, we'll say. But Tinkercad's fine if you're looking for something free. The latest release of FreeCAD's not too bad. That's probably what I'm going to switch to from Fusion.
And I actually use Tinkercad 99% of the time. I do use FreeCAD a little bit, but learning curve on that is.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought until I got to version 1. They finally got after 5 years, they finally got out of beta mode, and they released a version 1, which is actually okay.
So, but if you're using VCarve, can't you just upgrade to Aspire and it would do both?
Well, you can do basic 2D design in any VCarve.
No, but what I'm saying, if you had Aspire, wouldn't you not need a CAD program?
Well, that's a bit of a simplistic view. That's like saying you don't ever need a graphics tool if you have Lightburn.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
Touche.
You can do a lot in Lightburn, but hey, you can't do everything. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Nancy said that she bought a 27-inch monitor for her lab. Man, that's a monster. It must be
mine
one of
are
those curved ones.
36.
It's one of those curved ones. Fusion Hobby and VCarve.
Yeah.
Use Aspire.
Yeah, that just so people know though, the hobby version of that or something like SolidWorks, you can't really use. Well, can't. I don't know how they'd enforce it, but you can't really use those for commercial work.
We're not supposed to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know how they'd enforce it, but it's, I guess they assume people are going to be honest.
Yeah, it looks like most people are saying Aspire. They use Aspire.
Well, they're saying Aspire is primarily for 3D stuff, 2.5D. Like VCarve Pro is good. Even desktop, you can do all the same design stuff in desktop.
And you can do a lot of cool things in Blender too. I've played with that.
Now you want to talk about learning curves? Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Well, there's a learning curve there, but if you're doing something that's just not too complicated, Blender's kind of a cool tool.
Yeah, I've played with it a bit to do. I know enough Blender to do exactly what I need to do. And that's it. And when I say that, it's primarily to design the knight in a chess set.
Madre said you don't need Aspire to design for a Lightburn. Vectric Pro works. Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
no,
guys.
you wouldn't use Aspire for Lightburn.
Yeah.
It's so the reason I use something like a true CAD tool is if I'm building anything, I want to build an assembly so I can put it, if it's got multiple parts, like it's a box or something, I want to put it together in virtual space and know that everything's going to fit before I go and cut it out.
That makes sense.
And that's the thing a real CAD tool does for you.
Have you heard of this Nomad Sculpt? It said if you have an iPad, I really like Nomad Sculpt.
Nomad Sculpt? Never heard of it. I'm going to write it down.
Check it out. Well, guys, looks like we just hit time. I just want to thank everyone for joining our live today. Quite a few people jumped in. Looks like we had some regulars come back we haven't seen in a while, so it was good to see some of those regulars come back, and appreciate all the questions and those who did join our Facebook group today. Thank you. Although it says, just before your review on Pixie, great job on the video. You sold me $291 for 3 watts. No.
There you go. Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, I would say don't get the 3-watt one. Really get the 10-watt one. I think it's a little over 300, but it's definitely better.
Yeah. So thanks again for joining, guys. You guys want to say anything and close out?
No, this was a good break from all the stuff I've been doing this week. So
Well, as it was for me.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. See
Yep.
you all next week.
Thanks, everyone.
when you're
Good
ready
night,
to buy a
everyone.
CAD tools or a CNC Skyler, let me know.